How effective is your networking strategy? Consider these 3 items to help make it stronger. First, warm, not cold, learn, not teach, and the last one is give, don't take. Welcome to Great Transition Strategies Monday Morning Stand-Up. 5 minutes to get your week off to a great start and potentially give you something to help make you a more effective leader so you can love what you do. Networking. When I say that, what comes to mind? And are you really comfortable with it or are you uncomfortable with it? As I go through these 3 items and break it apart, think about yourself, what you feel about networking. What's your purpose for networking? Right now, you're always being told, oh, you need to network. What is your purpose for networking? What's your reason for being out there? Right, so let's go through all 3 of them, thinking about yourself. First one, warm, not cold. Warm meaning familiar. Think of a spectrum from left to right. Left being unfamiliar, cold connections, to the right to being very unfamiliar, strange culture that you know nothing about. Start on the left. If you don't like networking, think about where you plug in on the spectrum. On the left, family, friends, colleagues, associates, maybe alumni, maybe individuals in your industry. Those might be all the types of, as you move from left to right, where you start very, very familiar, and then you get less familiar. Where can you plug in on that spectrum and be comfortable? Think about where you plug in. All right, now you have that. This is where I plug in. This is where I'm comfortable. Those areas might be, maybe you're in the tech industry, so you want to plug in with tech folks. You want to plug in with folks that you're only associated with that are maybe adjacent. As a coach, I plug in with the HR folks because we understand each other. Very helpful for me. Size is also, are you comfortable in the large venues or not? Or do you need something small? You don't have to plug into those stereotypic big events. What makes the most sense, where you can plug in on that spectrum. That's what I mean, warm versus cold. Next one, learn, don't teach. Have you been at a networking event where that individual comes up to you? Hey, Gary, looks like your name. Hey, Gary, how you doing? I'm Bob, real estate, residential and commercial. I've been a top salesman for the past 2 years in the 5-county area. Here's my card. I can take care of all your real estate needs. Like, what in the world was that? You know nothing about that individual. Suppose Bob came to you and started learning, hey, Gary, I see you're in the coaching industry. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And he wanted to learn. Take the approach of learning about individuals. Hey, Bob, tell me a little bit about your real estate practice. What have you done? What got you there? Learn as much as you can about that individual as opposed to teaching them about you. That way you're not selling yourself. Learn. At some point, guess what? Bob's going to say, hey, Gary, tell me about you. They're going to ask about you, and you're going to have the opportunity to teach them about you if they're worth having a conversation with. If they don't want to learn about you, that probably wasn't a relationship that you wanted. That leads right to the next one. And the next one is give, not take. As you're having a conversation with these individuals, you're having that conversation with Bob, start thinking about, oh, there are some ways I might be able to help him. How can you help individuals? As opposed to taking, many people have the stereotypic image that people are all at these networking events to get something. And many are. I mean, you're there for a reason. But now, how can you help? How can you contribute? You know, Bob, I have a friend who's in the manufacturing. He's looking to double his square footage, and he needs a loading dock at his place. Why don't you give me your card? I'll make a connection for you. I'll connect you with him. You're giving. If you think of these 3 elements, and based on why you're networking now, how can they help you? What would they do to make you, 1, more comfortable, and then 2, more effective in what you do? What I've also found is by looking at this model here, when you go to places, go regularly. Go regularly. Maybe I go to alumni events. I go to folks that are in my profession, talking with them. I've built a relationship, and I've had a lot of things come my way just because I have built good relationships with that group and that group of the individuals in that group. Thanks for listening. Hope you found it helpful. Have a great week. See you next Monday morning, 8:30.